The time is 8:59.
This ON Radio weather forecast is sponsored by Interstate Seal Coating. Call Lance at 401-349-9360 for seal coating and crack filling to parking lot striping. Call Lance at 349-9360 today and he'll seal you tomorrow. A 50% chance of showers today, cloudy skies, high of 63, calm wind. Tonight, cloudy, overnight low 51. Sunday's weather, high of 69 and mostly cloudy skies. Monday, partial sunshine and 73. Tuesday, mostly cloudy, 76. Wednesday, mostly cloudy and 80. Thursday, Juneteenth, mostly sunny with a high of 88. Next Friday, sunshine and 82. Currently outside our Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio here on Park Avenue in Woonsocket, it's 61 degrees.
We're always here for you, ON Radio.
And good morning and welcome to the Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin. This week we have a slight twist on the name. This week only we have the Cheap Seats with Matt and Kevin, as Pat's out on assignment this week and should be back next week. So come on back, Pat. We're missing you here. So, but this week we welcome Matt Callahan to the show. You may recognize the name, nephew of Joe Callahan, host of Coffee Inn and the Tiki Bar. And my son, Matt. Welcome. Thanks for filling in this week.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You know anything about sports?
Of course.
All right. All right. So Matt's here to join us. And for those that know Matt and I, we're going to work really hard to not talk over and argue with each other, though that may make for better listening and viewing. We'll find out. So good luck, Matt. Have some fun tonight. This morning, that is. So, all right. So much going on this week that we want to get to. The NBA Finals, the NHL Finals, Sox Yanks, Antonio Brown making the news again for all the wrong reasons. And joining us after our first break will be the Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times sports writer and friend of the show, Brendan McGeer. He's going to talk about and break down the NCAA ruling that came down just last Friday night, allowing colleges to pay their athletes. We talked about it briefly on the show last week, but we like to bring in the experts on it. So we'll have Brendan McGeer after our first break, and some questions for him, and how it affects the 4 Division I colleges. So let's just jump right in. Like we always do, let's go around Rhode Island, New England, get you caught up. This past week was state championship time for Rhode Island high schoolers. And right off the bat, congratulations are in order to our very own, the Woonsocket Villanovans, ending their 39-year title drought by defeating the Pawtucket Co-op baseball team 8-1 and then 4-2 to capture the Division III title, finishing their magical season with a 22-2 record. Congrats to first-year head coach Drew Dyko and all of Woonsocket High. In Division I baseball, Cumberland battled Hendricken, but Hendricken ended up repeating as champs as they beat Cumberland 4-3 and then 12-2. Congrats to the Cumberland Clippers on a great season as well, and more on Cumberland later on in this update. And to wrap up baseball over in Division II, North Providence needed 3 games, but they captured the Division II title by beating East Greenwich.
In boys lacrosse, there are 4 division champs. Congrats to LaSalle, who Moses Brown beat 8-6 in D1. Portsmouth beats East Greenwich 10-5. D2 Narragansett over Mount Hope 9-8 in D3. And Rogers over Situate 10-7 in D4.
Okay, and just a quick little programming. I did introduce you, Matt, to the show, but as I am wont to do, I forgot to turn your mic on. So they did catch your update, but welcome to the show once again, and hopefully we have a good time with this.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, I'm glad you didn't see anything of the utmost importance, but thanks for catching us up there in the boys lacrosse. Over in girls lacrosse, Moses Brown over LaSalle 11-2. In Division I, the Lincoln School out of Providence beat Westerly 11-10 in Division II. East Providence over Smithfield 9-3 in Division III. And Coventry over Situate 10-3 in Division IV are your state champions in girls lacrosse.
In softball, LaSalle beats Charahoe in D1.
No score there. Because you had the winners bracket and the losers bracket, so I didn't put scores in our notes. Just who wins.
Yeah. St. Rita's beats West Warwick in D2, and Tiverton over Cranston in East in D3. In volleyball, Cranston East defeats North Kingstown in 3 sets to 2 in a 5-hour marathon in D1 to take the title. Mount Hope over Portsmouth in D3, also 3 sets to 2. And special congratulations to Lincoln High School for taking the D2 title by sweeping Pawtucket Co-op in a 3-set sweep to take the Division II title.
Yeah, congrats definitely to Lincoln High School. Big year for them over there. And, doing the notes for the show, kind of like feeling a little bad for the Pawtucket Co-op. They lose to Woonsocket in baseball in the championship. They lose to Lincoln in volleyball. But, oh well, as they combine their schools, I'm sure they'll be fine in the future. Let's get over to some track and field. The Cumberland girls, which had placed second in the 2023 meet and third last season, captured the Interscholastic League's top prize for the first time since 1989, sparked by record-setting meet by senior distance runner Kylie DeFusco, who's off to the College of Charlestown, and senior thrower Peyton Goulding, who's going off to UNH, first career state title. The Clippers scored 69 points to top the West Warwick Wizards by 5 points, 69-64. With 2 events to go on the meet schedule, and I'm not 100% how this whole stuff works and how they do the scoring and everything, but there were 2 events left. The 3,000 meter and the 4x400 relay. West Warwick held a 63-54 lead over Cumberland, and Cumberland produced the final 15 points of the meet. Senior Rose Tuamasato took a personal best time with 10 minutes and 20 seconds. DeFusco placed 4th with 10:24, and freshman Cecilia Ludwig finished 7th with at 10:27. So for the girls, fantastic. Great year. Congrats to Marty Crowley as well, the athletic director, and all the coaches. And the good news continued for the boys team, which saw the 4x100 relay squad of seniors Andrew Cutlip, Ben Goodrich, and Will Volpe, and junior Matt Fontaine break the record in a time of 47.73 seconds. That was good for 7th place. Fontaine also placed 5th in the 300-meter hurdles in 39.91 seconds, and 6th in 110-meter hurdles in 15.43. And my understanding is he is actually off to Connecticut right now. Matt Fontaine is for the New England Regionals, which will be starting at 10. My wife's cousin is Matt's father. So by marriage, we are related. Steve's the father is a big listener to the show. So Matt, if you're listening, Steve, if you're listening, good luck, and
shout out, you guys.
big shout out to the Fontaine family. Lincoln High School continues with their best finishes this year. Good. We had junior Finley Steben in the boys 400, and sophomore Mayla Miller in the girls high jump. Also placing 6th in their event was LaSalle Academy sophomore, but Cumberland resident Carolina Turlato in the girls 800 with a time of 2 minutes and 17 seconds, .06. So busy week in track and field for sure, and the whole Rhode Island. Actually, there's a little bit more, Matt. You got something on the recent Barterville High grad, so then we'll wrap up the high school. Go ahead.
Then we got a congratulations to the recent Burrillville graduate, Mackenzie Cleary, who became a 2-time state champion in the girls' javelin at last weekend's RIIL.
That's the Rhode Island Interscholastic League, for those that may not know.
Outdoor track and field championship at Brown University. Clearly aired out a throw of 132 feet, 2 inches, that not only won the event by more than 8 inches.
8 feet.
8 feet, sorry, it's tough. But also broke her school record by 62 inches. She entered the meet as the only thrower in the state to top 120 feet this spring. Clary. Sorry.
That's all right.
Who will continue her volleyball career this fall at the University of New England in Biddeford, Maine. Also took 7th place in the shot put with a PR throw of 33 feet 9 inches.
Yeah. So, and Matt, if I didn't tell you already, we don't take ourselves too seriously on here, so we can talk over each other. And we can make fun of each other as well. So, all right. So that wraps up the high school season. I may have a question for Brendan when he joins us after our first break as well about some of the high school stuff, as I think he covered every single event at the same time as it was happening in Rhode Island. He's that good. Okay, Rhode Island FC was back in action Wednesday night, losing 2-1 on the road to Louisville FC. RIFC back home tonight at Centerville Bank Stadium against North Carolina FC beginning at 7 o'clock. Seats are still available. They are still looking for their first home win at their new stadium. So I know a couple of the season ticket holders are getting just a little bit antsy over there, looking for that first win. They want to celebrate. They're still getting good crowds there, as you would imagine. If you can't make the game, because, you know, like our show, it's been raining for just over a year straight on Saturdays. You can tune to Nesson for all the action beginning at 7 o'clock. RIFC currently sits in 8th place with 3 wins, 6 draws, and 3 losses, which is good for 12 points. That's the other thing about soccer. Every other sport does win, loss, and draw, or tie. Soccer does win, draw, then loss. It's confusing to me.
Confusing.
So, but yeah, it is. It's you know, it's Pat, you're gonna have to help me out on all the soccer stuff when you come back, because I raised my son here and he knows as much about soccer as I do. So
You can teach me some stuff too.
all right, he's learning. Okay, so
Speaking of soccer,
yes.
the New England Revolution return to the pitch tonight at 7:30 when they host Cincinnati at Gillette in MLS action.
MLS action. The Revs did have last week off. I threw in a quick take here on soccer. We did this last week. Pat and I did. Pat wasn't in the studio. He joined us by phone, and wasn't in the pregame notes. And I didn't throw him under the bus, but I knew he could talk soccer, so I threw this in here. I try to follow the men's team. The World Cup is going to be in the United States 1 year from right now. It's going to be happening at Gillette Stadium. They got the most matches out of Mexico, United States, and Canada. The championship games are in New York, and they're going to have 6 games. Gillette Stadium is going to have 7 games. This is huge. Hasn't been in the United States since 1994. The other day, USA, it was a friendly. It doesn't count for anything. It's a glorified exhibition. They lost to Switzerland, the size of New England. Lost to Switzerland 4-0 in men's soccer. That's the baseball equivalent of 14-0. Yeah, right. Okay, they play meaningful games starting tomorrow against Trinidad and Tobago. They have a game against Saudi Arabia on Thursday, and they wrap up group stage in the CONCACAF tourney next Sunday against Haiti. Okay, this tournament, it's big. It's not as big as the World Cup, but it means a lot. That much I know. This team is 1 year away from hosting the World Cup, and they have fallen so far. They're in my opinion, they are in the worst position they've been in as far as like their fan base. When the World Cup was here in '94, it sparked interest in men's soccer that wasn't there. Actually, and the women capitalized on it when they won the World Cup in, I think it was 1999. In the last 30 years, people followed them. They were good, so people were happy to follow them. Then they got bad, and people were mad at them for underperforming, but people still cared. Now they are irrelevant. So Matt, I'm going to throw you on the spot right now. Do you know anybody in your circle of friends, going 5 years younger to 5 years older, anybody that talks men's soccer in your friend group? Anybody?
No,
not
really.
No, completely. So when I was your age, it was around the time that the World Cup. I was working at Chops, one of our sponsors, Couple House Pizza, working there. Huge interest from the Greek owned business. They played in Greece. Greece was playing in Foxborough. Huge interest. Ireland was in it. Italy was in it. It was a huge interest, and then USA got good in soccer, and people cared. I was in my 20s, and people cared. You could hear it from the country. I haven't heard anybody mention. Now, it's going to sell out. It's the World Cup. It's the biggest stage. But there's...
World Cup, we talk about it a little bit. But other than that, outside of that, when it's happening... Did you or any of your friends know about this CONCACAF tournament coming up? I've never heard of it.
Exactly. So a couple of years after the World Cup, back in the 90s and going on, USA did well in it. I think they won it one time. Like, these are big tournaments, and they have fallen to irrelevant.
Unless you're specifically looking up soccer things, you're not necessarily just going to see it on social media. Unless you're following those teams or whatever, but it's not out there.
Right. No.
Much. You have to actually put in effort to find it.
The diehards are always going to be there. It's like the diehard cricket people. It's the diehard hockey people. It's the diehard soccer. They're always going to be there. you need to attract at the World Cup people like yourself. They need to attract me. They need to really attract you and your friend group because you guys, the up and coming group, and they're irrelevant. Nobody knows them. I used to be able to name Alexi Lalas. I used to know him. Taylor Twellman. Tony Miola was the goalie. I used to know Clint Dempsey. I don't know one player on the team. There was, Jeff Cameron from Attleboro was on the team. I don't know a single player on Team USA right now, and they are 1 year away. This is the team that's going to the World Cup next year.
I don't know anybody.
And they can't score against Switzerland, and they lose 4-0. This is if they go 0-3 in World Cup next year at home, and they get bounced in the front. Maybe they've expanded the field, so they might have 4 games. I don't even know, but it's okay. So just that's just my little take on World Cup soccer. You got one more thing on the Worcester Red Sox, and we'll go to our first break, and hopefully Brendan will be joining us after the first break. The
Worcester Red Sox had their 9-game winning streak snapped on Thursday when they lost to Lehigh Valley 12-3. The Woo Sox dropped a 4-3 decision last night as well. They finished their series against Lehigh Valley today and tomorrow. The Woo Sox return home on Tuesday for a week-long series versus Buffalo.
All right, so when we come back, we'll have Brendan McGarr on the line to talk about the latest ruling on the NCAA and colleges paying their athletes here in the Cheap Seats today with Matt and Kevin. Put the Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin on 99.5 FM, 1240 AM, OneSocketRadio.com.
The latest Buick and GMC models are available at Tasker Buick GMC in Woonsocket. Buick Encore, Envision, Enclave, and Envista are on the lot waiting for you to take one for a test drive. New GMC crossovers, SUVs, as well as trucks and vans are also available. Thinking of a pre-owned vehicle? Tasker Buick GMC has more than 900 in stock, many under $15,000. Visit online, TaskerBuickGMC.com, or stop into 55 Fortin Drive, Woonsocket. Tasker Buick GMC, you will be satisfied. And remember, there are no tariffs on the vehicles in stock at Tasker Buick GMC.
At North Smithfield Urgent Care and Lincoln Urgent Care, you'll always be seen by a board-certified physician who'll diagnose your minor illness or injury. Their services include treatment for flu, fractures, rashes, ITU infections, and work-related injuries, plus physicals, vaccinations, and drug screening. North Smithfield Urgent Care, Great Road, North Smithfield, and Lincoln Urgent Care, Wake Robin Road, Lincoln. X-ray and lab on premises.
Don't look now, but spring is right around the corner. Get out those golf clubs and head over to Lewis Quistit Golf Club, located right in the city of North Providence. Lewis Quistit offers a stunning 9-hole course designed by U.S. Open champion Ken Venturi. Whether you're looking for a fun, challenging round of golf or just a relaxing day surrounded by rolling hills, oak trees, natural wetlands, this is the perfect spot. With tee times available 7 days a week, fantastic court conditions, and a welcoming atmosphere both for members and the public, Lewis Quistit is a place to be. And after you're around, don't miss out on great food and drinks at the Pub on One, complete with a scenic golf course view. Contact Lewis Quistit Golf Club at www.lewisquisitgc.com or by calling 401-353-1620.
The world-class distributor of all things electrical is Electrical Wholesalers. They are a full-service electrical distributor with branches throughout Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. Locally, they're at 113 Clinton Street next to KFC here in Woonsocket, with other locations in Cranston and Franklin, Massachusetts. Electrical Wholesalers provides the highest quality service to electrical contractors as well as residential, commercial, and industrial customers. Electrical Wholesalers is open Monday through Friday, 7 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. Visit ew-ne.com. Electrical Wholesalers.
We're local and live at 99.5 FM, ON, AM, and FM.
And welcome back to the Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin. Special guest host this week, Matt Callahan, joining us. Let's go to the phone lines and see if we can pull up Brendan McGarr. We'll do that and that. And Brendan, are you there?
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Excellent. Hold on one second. Okay, let's try this again. Brendan, are you there?
Yes.
All right.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brendan. Thank you so much for joining us. So I don't know if you were able to listen to the first part of the show where we wrap up Rhode Island high school and kind of go around New England, but a big week in Rhode Island sports, wouldn't you say?
Oh absolutely. Well, just from the high school perspective, crowned all the spring champions. Locally, just give shout outs to with soccer baseball winning the D3 title. Cumberland, they made it to the D1 finals. Lincoln volleyball, boys volleyball, they won the D3 title. The Cumberland girls, they won the outdoor state title. And it's been a robust spring in terms of achievements. But now everyone, from at least the high school perspective, gets to cool their heels a little bit. And I think I wrote this today for my Father's Day story. I think we're a little more than 8 weeks away from the first official start of football practice.
Yeah, the high school football season where we try to cover Woonsocket, Burrillville, North Smithfield, Lincoln, Cumberland, and the rotating schedule, and working with the referee shortages and see what we can do there. But hopefully, they should be finalizing the schedule. I think the schedule's been out for a while, but I think they put their final tweaks on it now. Isn't that right?
The schedule is out if you want to go to the high school website and check it out. I'm sure you and your superiors will start, putting aside games here. We'll be interested to see, the status of, with soccer football in terms of where they play their games. You hear about if the field's going to be ready on time, if it's not. Because, traditionally, we always did a game on Friday night, but then, scoot over to Barry Field or over to Burrillville on a Saturday morning. So, be interested to see what the status will be and, what games we'll be doing.
Exactly. So, all right. So, hopefully you could take a breather. Are you heading down to Connecticut at all to cover any of the regional tournaments going on today, or are you taking today off?
Well, we're going down to Connecticut for the track to New Britain. We'll leave it. We're going to pack a lunch and a cooler and head down there in a little bit. So we'll see what our local tracksters can do down there. But Legion Bowl is already in full swing. Next week you got the Northeast Amateur One of Oyster, and the following week you have the RI Amateur, which is the RIGA's big tournament of the year over at Rhode Island Country Club. So we switch from a little more golf, which enjoy playing and also enjoy covering as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and we mentioned it a lot last year in the show too. You also got the NECBL starting up with the Newport Gulls, and there's a South County Rhode Island team. So if you're looking for some great college baseball down there, just like almost at the Cape Cod level, maybe like a notch below the Cape Cod League level, but a pretty darn good baseball down there as well.
Very, very good baseball, and if you need a reason to go to Newport, Carneys Field is certainly a great experience, and also go over to Old Mountain Field and go see the Waves. Great baseball because a lot of these college kids are coming from high-level programs, and with the College World Series going on, a few more could potentially trickle in as well.
Absolutely. No, it's a great game. Best way to put it for those of you that may not know, in the NECBL with the Gulls, let's just say that Vanderbilt's your number one team in the country. Where the Cape Cod League might get a junior from Vanderbilt, the Gulls will get a freshman or sophomore that may not have been the everyday starter, but projects to be next year's everyday starter. Would you say that's accurate?
Oh, absolutely. It's like maybe the kids who, they're not at that weekend starter mentality. That's the goal for every college pitcher, to be that weekend starter, be
right.
That Game 1 Friday guy. But, these are the guys who maybe they start those non-leaguers during the middle of the week, the ones that aren't scratched due to bad weather.
Right.
This is their summer to kind of shine, to really build up themselves up there going into their fall ball experiences at their respective schools.
Yeah, so I'll be looking to, especially with the high school stuff, and I'll probably covering a little bit more of the NECBL going forward. Again, real good baseball. I love Cardines Field, and what's not to love?
It's beautiful over there too. Yeah. It's such a nice area.
Yeah, Matt had an opportunity to play down there during the COVID summer when it was the Newport Collegiate Baseball League for one summer.
The only summer league.
What's that, Brendan?
It was the only summer league going at that point. It was like sports in 2020, where especially during the summer, were scarce, and I always give credit to those people for organizing a league like that, to giving college baseball players, because if you remember, all their seasons were short-circuited because of the pandemic.
Right, exactly. Yeah, perfect. And my one little laugh on that was when I got to go see a game, fans weren't allowed into the stadium because of COVID. The players spread out throughout Cardines, so everybody jammed into the playground in left field, not spreading COVID to each other.
We're sitting in the stands.
It was almost like, I think they marked the spots where you could sit for not trying not to spread COVID, but those were strange times back then, but thankfully we're well past that.
Yes.
We allow fans can come back in and enjoy watching some good baseball at a good price, and like I said, go enjoy Newport.
All right, so all right. Speaking of college, is the reason why we asked you to be on the show this week, Brendan. Thanks again for joining us. You listen to Brendan McGeer, Blackstone Valley Call-in Time sports writer. And last Friday night, a big ruling came down. We touched on it briefly at the end of the show. All I know about it is it's 76 pages long. It allows colleges to pay their athletes. And correct me if I'm wrong with any of my facts, please, Brendan. $20 million. A year, and it begins this fiscal year, July 1st. So we're talking two and a half weeks from now. Is that right? So and it's different from the NIL money. So could you break down what this whole ruling is?
So let's backtrack 4 years ago when name, image, and likeness first came on the scene, and it was almost like the Wild Wild West in terms there were no guardrails. Basically, when NIL came online, it was, okay, here it is, colleges or athletes could finally start to receive compensation. However, it was more due to third-party organizations. Like, say, for example, Kevin Callahan got a deal with a local car dealership or whatever, and that dealership was able to pay him through whatever agreement that they worked through. Now, based on their settlement from last Friday, the colleges are the ones who, they're holding the purse strings, so to speak, and they're the ones who can, write the checks and everything else. And, it's interesting because we've seen, like, the rise of collectives. These are the organizations that kind of holding the money in terms of, to donate to the collective. The collective then will facilitate maybe the deals that the athletes are able to get, and then they write the checks. So it'd be interesting to see where their stance is going forward, and for colleges or for boosters per se. Like before, they were maybe conditioned for the longest time. We're going to donate to the athletic fund, for general for sports. And then over the last couple of years, you were probably asked maybe if you're a booster, you have to give to NIL as well. If once again the booster is asked with the question, who do I give to?
Okay, yeah. So it's so now, all right. So with the money coming from the school, and was I right about the $20 million?
Yeah, that's the cap. That's the cap that starts $20.5 million.
Okay, so the majority of the money, and I think I read 75%, is supposed to go to the football programs. So how does this impact Providence College? You can even throw Georgetown, some of the Big East basketball schools who have no football, compared to, and I'm purposely leaving off Brown for a second, Bryant and URI locally, and other football or other schools that have football where that's their main moneymaker.
And that's, for maybe a school like Providence or Georgetown, like you said, like a school that does not have, power football, they could maybe spend up to the cap. They could maybe potentially become the leaders in terms of, hey, this is what we could potentially pay you guys going forward. But they're also in like schools that also at PC. You got to think about men's hockey, also women's basketball as well. From that top perspective, in terms of what you want to divvy up. But like going back to football, like you said, football, Ohio State, you have a very competitive football team, a national championship team, but also you have a basketball team that competes in the Big Ten. What do you do then?
So in your opinion, then, does this ruling help the Big East in basketball and in Hockey East too? I guess for that matter, because when you look at the Big East, when you look at Hockey East, I mean, there's a lot of schools that don't have a football program. Like I don't think Vermont has a football team. If they do, they're not very good. That I'm aware of.
Like UNH, for example. How does this maybe impact a school like UNH or Maine,
right,
where they do have football? And football teams last time we checked are pretty big. 60 plus, 70 plus athletes on the team.
Right.
What do you do at that point? And it obviously, say for example, and I use this always with college baseball. I think it's up to for Division I, 11.5 scholarships.
That's what it was. That's what I last remember. Yeah, and they could split it. Last I heard, they could split 3 ways, but I think it's only 2 ways now, right?
I believe, but just going back to NIL and going to those schools, like you said, with the $20.5 million, how do you quote unquote divvy it up? For football with such a huge roster, but also we also have basketball, hockey, and other sports that we want to take care of. Baseball, it's almost like you really have to quote unquote watch the budget.
Right. So, and Brendan, I think Matt's got a question for you here.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. Will Brown and the Ivy League play along? Meaning, they don't do athletic scholarships in the Ivy League, but will they pay their athletes the same as they would, like, UNH
So it's a
or
good
whatever?
question. I haven't seen anything come out by the Ivy League about how they're going to proceed with this. The Ivy League has always marched to the beat of its own drummer. We know that for the longest time they didn't do a conference tournament or postseason tournament for basketball. They started to do that, and it'll be interesting to see how they do it because, unfortunately for leagues like the Ivy League and maybe even Brian with the American East, it's almost like they become feeder systems in terms of their athletes, in terms of, if they have a good athlete and he does well, and all of a sudden you have like a Power 5 or Power 4 now who are knocking at your level, knocking at your door, of course you're going to jump. So it's almost like they have to do something at that level to maybe try to keep athletes, and otherwise it will be like, it could be like the Oakland Athletics, for example. Like I always say, or Tampa Bay. You could develop the talent, but once that talent becomes too pricey, we have to, think about what we have to move on from them because we can't afford to pay them. It'll be the same thing at the Ivy League level. We have a good player,
Right.
we want to keep him, but we don't have any system in place to try to keep him. Oh, by the way, here comes Alabama and Ohio State. They're coming with a car dealership offer. We can't even come close to that. So they have to get creative at that level because otherwise they're going to just be known as, we're going to, have a good freshman year. But, we can transfer and move on, and that's it.
So I would imagine that players are going to go into it, like better players, they might have conversations. They're going to want more money, and if they don't get the money, they're going to go somewhere else, too, I think, in a way.
And unfortunately, we always hear from all the players now because it's become a transactional business with a financial twist. Players will always say it's not about the money. It's not about the money. Well, of course it is. It's you're 18,
That's why
19
we're all
years
playing.
old. And you have the chance.
Exactly.
You have the opportunity to make a lot of money at that young age. Of course, it's almost like it's life-changing money at such a young age. Nobody else has an opportunity to do so.
Right.
You're making money to go to college, essentially, and you're making a lot of money doing it. I'm in crazy debt right now, so like
I know,
a couple mil wouldn't be so bad.
And also too, let's also forget these athletes are also like, especially the football and the basketball players, they're on athletic scholarships, so they're not like Tim for you, they're not working out of their debt free. They don't have to worry about taking out loans or anything like that.
So all right, so in your opinion, if I'm hearing you right, this does not level the playing field against the SEC at all.
No, I mean the SEC, like they have their collectives already in place. So what do you tell these collectives who, especially for athletes, like you mentioned at the top, Kevin, how this is going to come into effect on July 1st.
Yeah.
A lot of these rosters are already been formed based on deals made through their collectives. So, do you wait a year in terms of, the $20.5 million, we can go into effect next year? I think I read somewhere that Ohio State's football team, I think they paid almost $20 million for this past year in terms of, payouts and things like that to win a national championship.
Wow.
Based on collectives that were already agreed upon.
Wow. It's just crazy. Yeah, in some respects, the $20 million sounds like a lot of money, and then in other respects, when you start adding up the number of athletes on campus who can receive the money, it might not be that much money. As Matt said, okay, you're offering me 1.2, I can get 2.2 from UCLA. And there goes the Harvard crew rower. Who.
also too, and I've always wondered this because, and it goes back to my thing about college baseball and scholarships. Not every player is on the same amount in terms of scholarships. Some players might get a little more north of that and get like a closer to a full scholarship, and some players might get like enough to cover their books to buy each semester.
Right.
Wonder, you wonder how much does that create a divide within the locker room.
Absolutely, no, it's a great point. I mean, it's true now. College, and it's been this way for a while anyway. It is a professional league out there now with the colleges, and I just wonder, actually, in the long run, this is another conversation for another day. Could it affect the professional ranks? Because if I have a chance, if I'm making $7 million and I'm playing basketball at PC, and you know what? I think I might play all 4 years, because why risk coming out and get sent to the G League, where I might make only $75,000 a year?
Way less money to play in the G League
yeah.
than going to college.
So,
well, for example, like I think the cost for a top end quarterback right now is maybe north of $9 million. For that's I think he would make this is like maybe quarterbacks who. Not mentioned in first round draft conversation. If I'm that athlete, I'm like, sure, I'm gonna try to maximize my earning potential before my eligibility is up, so to speak. And that's why that's why it was almost comical to see some players from the college basketball ranks. You knew that they were done eligibility wise, and they were trying to fight for another year or try to put their name in the transfer portal.
Right.
Even though you knew that they had already exhausted all their eligibility, because they know deep down it's another opportunity for them to get a healthy paycheck, because nothing is guaranteed for them moving forward, whether it's going to the G League or even going overseas.
Right, exactly. Yeah, making $9 million at Providence College, and I'm making up numbers in case Steve Napolillo's from PC is listening. But to go, to go to the G League or Europe or even the NBA, if you're drafted in the second round, it's not guaranteed money. And I wonder, you walk out, you're a $9 million college quarterback for 4 years. You walk out with your $36 million. All right, 20 after taxes. You know what? I don't think I'm going to the NFL. I'm good. I'm debt free, and I'm 22. That's not a bad way to start life.
Oh, exactly. And it's I have all my limbs intact and everything, but I just just the way that the system is set up, especially for a top tier quarterback. You have the potential to make a lot of a good amount of money, even more so than, say, if you end up being a 5th or 6th round draft pick,
right?
And you're signing for a bare minimum, and you have the potential to get cut by the time August rolls around.
Right. Yeah, in the NFL with the non-guaranteed contract. So, wow. So, all right. So, Brendan, we're just about out of time. Just your prediction. We got 2 real good finals going on. I don't know if you've been able to watch any of it with how busy you've been, but you got two series that have tied up at 2 each in the NBA and the Stanley Cup. I'm a bigger hockey fan than basketball. The Cup has gone to 3 overtime games out of 4. Your prediction on who wins the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup?
So, both series are tied 2-2.
Yes.
And if you're just a sports purist, you don't have anything else going on, I would gravitate more towards the hockey.
Yes.
Because I think there's more intrigue there. You mentioned, there's only been one blowout game out of the first 4.
Right.
And it looked like Florida, they had a chance to take a stranglehold of the series last year, but we saw it last year. Florida went up, was a 3-1, and ended up fight back and everything. Edmonton made a great charge here.
Yeah.
So I would lean more towards hockey right now in terms of if you're a casual sports fan, you're looking for something to do.
Right.
To watch it. And I think, too, I'm wondering, too, Kevin, obviously you're a hockey person more so than me, the travel aspect of it. I think right now, the way it's structured, you go Saturday, Tuesday, and potentially another, if it's Game 7, next Saturday. So I think that may help. Because we're talking, there's about 7-8 hour difference between Edmonton and Miami from a flight perspective?
Yeah, I remember reading last year that it is the furthest distance between 2 teams for a championship. And just to follow up on that, Brendan, Game 5 is tonight in Edmonton. Game 6 is Tuesday in Florida. And Game 7 is next Friday in Edmonton.
Oh, Friday, okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was an extra. I thought there was an extra. But, yeah, so they gave an extra day in between, usually.
Yeah.
In between games and everything, just for travel perspective. But I think, I wonder how much jet lag or things like that will come into play now, because you're going to have the potential to make these. At least you have 2 more flights here. Going back to Edmonton and going back to Miami for Game 6.
Absolutely, and you don't have the same jet lag between Oklahoma City and Indiana. not by a.
Well, and going back to that series last night, the MVP, he came through there in the fourth quarter where it felt like their season was going to be on the brink, going down 3-1, going back home to Oklahoma City, but. I think a lot of people more so are talking about, the fact that it's 2 small markets playing against each other, and, is there, what's the narrative, what's the angle, is this the start of the next dynasty, Oklahoma City, if they win, you don't think of, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander or Tyrese Halliburton as like, we're waiting for them to kind of break through like we were maybe LeBron. Or even more so before then, Michael Jordan, so to speak. So, but I tell people this all the time, about all people complaining about the NBA Finals and there's not like that star attraction, so to speak. Well, it's also the last year of the current TV deal because obviously TNT is bowing out.
Yep.
Thank God the inside the NBA is going to continue. But next year you start NBC comes back, and also I think it's Amazon or one of the streaming services.
Yeah, I forget which one now.
I guess what I'm saying is if you're going to have and I'm sure it's going to come out about how it was a dud of a finals from a ratings perspective, you might as well have this one at the NBA because it's the last year of the current deal. Right,
exactly. So, all right, so make a prediction. Who do you like in each one? With 3 games to go.
I would like to see Brad Marchand win another cup.
Okay.
I'm going to go Florida, and I still got to go with Oklahoma City. I think they're the better team, top to bottom, so I'm going to go with the Thunder.
All right, Brendan McGeer from the Blackstone Valley, Calling Times, joining us here on the line. Brendan, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure I'm going to have some more follow-up questions in the future on this whole NCAA ruling anyway. But thank you so much for joining us and clearing things up a little bit for us.
All right, Kevin, enjoy the rest of the show. Tim, good to talk to you, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks for coming in.
Yep, thanks, Brendan. Okay, Brendan McGeer joining us from Blackstone Valley Calling Times. I might even be more confused, but no, he cleared up some things for me. So, okay, so we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to jump into, did you see the Sox game last night? We got to jump in on that as well. Great start to the series. So you are in the cheap seats with Matt today, Pat and Kevin here on 1240 AM, 99.5 FM and WoodSocketRadio.com. And we'll be right back.
When you visit State Line Services website, you'll see a wealth of information about them and the 20 kinds of specialties they offer, including cooling system maintenance, emission testing, exhaust systems, and computerized engine analysis. Because today's vehicles are a complicated piece of equipment with a network of sensors that monitor your vehicle's performance. In other words, you need an expert. State Line Service and Tire Center, 1209 Social Street, Woonsocket, at the State Line. 765-0146. New customers are welcome.
Woonsocket Door Sales can handle any kind of door installation, including residential and commercial, paying special attention to your door's infrastructure, such as framework repair, to ensure that your door is firmly in place. Woonsocket Door Sales is a 4th-generation family business, installing and repairing all types of doors. Please visit their website at woonsocketdoorsales.com to see a gallery of door styles, manufacturers, and testimonials from satisfied customers. Woonsocket Door Sales, 767-3448. Call Amy Bebo at 767-3448.
Appreciate your customers, then give them the best job possible. That's been their motto at Michaud's Auto Body since 1948. They have continually invested in the newest and best frame unibody equipment available, as well as color matching techniques. Michaud's Auto Body is a certified Class A facility where all collision repairs are 100% guaranteed. Michaud's Auto Body at 430 Privilege Street, Woonsocket, 769-1983.
Are you looking to beautify your property this spring? Look to A.J. Moran for stonework patios, steps, walkways, plus retaining walls. Are you looking to beautify your home this spring? A.J. Moran can put veneer stone right on your house to have beautiful looking stone. And if that's not what you want, A.J. Moran can rebuild indoor fireplaces with veneer stone. It's real natural stone. Check out what they can do online, ajmoraninc.com. A.J. Moran.
And welcome back to the Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin. Pat out on assignment this week, filling in ably Matt Callahan, Coffee and host Joe Callahan's nephew, my son. So, all right. So, hear your thoughts. We still got some time left this show. 401-766-1240. If you have any thoughts on anything that Brendan just talked about, the NCAA, you got some Rhode Island high school thoughts that you took away from the past season or so, give us a call. You got some thoughts on last night's Sox game. Ooh, last night's Sox game. That was a good one. Carlos Narvaez. If you don't know the name, we're almost at the halfway point of the season. Start following him. This guy's good. I've been going back and forth with Matt all season. I'm like, is he having a Connor Wong season, which I think was a runoff last year? And Connor Wong is back to where I thought he would be. Not very good. 160, 170 can fill in. I'm just
still hasn't had an RBI this year.
Yeah, with no RBIs halfway through the year. Narvaez, huge hit last night. But before the hit, if you watch the game 1-1, Judge ties it up with one out in the ninth inning against Crochet. They were arguing on the radio whether they left Crochet in too long. I'm old school. I'm glad that they were going to try to give Crochet the shutout in the complete game. He was dealing last night. He only finished with, I think, 107 pitches through 8 in the third. Yeah. That's fine with me. He had an extra day of rest. Anyway, Narvaez, because of the ghost runner on second base, which I hate that term. Ghost runner means an invisible runner. It's a real runner. Throws out a runner at third. They reviewed it, and he was out. Marcelo Meyer got the tag down right on the shoulder, right before the hand got in. Great throw. Takes a runner out of scoring position, and then a ball I think would have been out of most parks. We were kind of debating last night would have been out. It's out in the left center. Hit the top of the monster. I guess it technically goes down as a single. And they beat the Yankees 2-1. To start the game, I was a little disappointed. No Meyer, no Duran. Romy Gonzalez was at first. Abraham Toro was at third. Rob Resnider. I'm okay with Resnider, but on left because he hits the lefties pretty well. Weird lineup. It looked like Meyer and Duran finished the game, yes. So I'm not 100% sure when they subbed in, but
Romy bad third too,
and Romy bad at third.
So, interesting lineup to say the least.
Yeah, so I mean, so you got the Sox, and if you have any thoughts on the Sox, give us a call 766-1240. All right, Matt, I'll put you on the spot. Have the Red Sox turned the corner in the sense that they won 2 out of 3 last weekend against the Yankees? They just took 2 out of 3. Again, and I'm drawing a blank on who naturally. And then they just took game 1 against the Yankees. They are playing much better in a very short period of time. Have they turned the corner, or am I getting too excited for no reason?
I'm getting excited.
Okay.
I'm getting excited. They've played against the Yankees real well this year. I think they're 4-1 now against them this season. Oh. Yankees are the second best team, if not the best. I think they're the second best team in the league record-wise. All
right, Matt, I think we got a phone call. Let's, do we have one here? Hold on, there? Hello, you're on the air.
Good morning, Kevin.
Moose, how's it going?
I'm fine. I just walked in, catch the last few minutes of the program.
Oh, say hi to my son, Matt.
Hey, hi, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
Matt's in for Pat, and Pat's out on assignment this week, so he'll be back next week to fill us in.
The Callahan clan.
Gotta keep the Callahans going. Third Callahan to be on air now.
Oh yeah. We love it. We love the addition of the Callahans to WOON Radio. No doubt about it.
Sounds good. So, did you see the game last night?
But you know what? I got a call this morning from somebody that was at the game, and he says it's the first time the entire season there was a buzz going around the ballpark.
Well, you bring in the first place Yankees, that happens.
Yeah, well, the Yankees are in town. You know, playing the Red Sox Friday night at Fenway. What more can you ask?
Right.
You know, and they didn't disappoint. What a show! What a game!
Right. No, it's 2-1 against I was surprised to see Goldschmidt's hitting over 300 this year with real good numbers.
Howard's
Judge
not there as much, but he's hitting the ball.
Yeah, Goldschmidt's the real deal, and then Judge. We were talking. I was out with my son last night, and we were talking. It was like Judge has struck out his first 3 at bats, and I'm like, it doesn't matter.
He's 6 times in a row actually before the homer.
Yeah, and then he crushed one to the pike.
Yeah, that ball just landed outside of my house over there on the street now.
It did land. Okay.
Just landed. Just come over here. That thing was a missile.
Yeah. That was good.
But geez, I hope they don't go with Toro for the rest of the year to base. I mean, Bregman, come on, Alex, come back. You don't take 3 or 4 steps fielding the ground and then throw to first.
Right. Yeah. No.
I mean, you got to set yourself. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
You got to set yourself. Square up and fire.
Well,
juggling the. Yeah.
It should be interesting. With the rest of the series. Hey, Moose, I actually have another caller on the line, so I'm gonna go. This is very rare.
That's all right. Somebody wants me off the air.
Maybe that's all right. Moose, have a great weekend. Go Sox, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, Cap. You too.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Okay, let's go to the lines and see who we have here. Hello, you're on the air. Okay, hold on. Let's try this. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, it's Greg from the Tunic, Rhode Island.
Hey, Greg, what's going on?
Pretty good. Great show. I tune in. I get 5 minutes of high school track and 10 minutes of college or World Cup soccer. I get NCAA finance rules. I get professional baseball. It's like, God, you guys do everything.
Hey, we squeeze a lot into 1 hour, Greg.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations. It's very cool to do the show with your son. He's doing a great job, by the way.
Oh, appreciate it. Thanks. having a blast.
I'm even giving him some FaceTime, too. So he's younger than me.
The one hard thing about doing it with your son is you got the exact same Rhode Island accent and similar voices. Like, which one's speaking?
Well, when it's, good knowledge, it's me. And
if he's going on a rant, it's probably him.
Yeah, if I'm rambling, it's me.
Yeah, but the sarcasm comes from the sun.
Yeah, that's true too. So what's going on? How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers being over in Pittsburgh? You can't beat him up anymore, there, Greg.
Yeah, now we just have to beat him up on the field. I mean, game 1 is Jets defense against Aaron Rodgers would be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, I heard one guy predict that Aaron Rodgers doesn't even make it to the end of the year in Pittsburgh.
I think he takes 2 drop steps back and does a Vinny Testaverde.
Oh, jeez. I used to call him a Vinny Interceptaverdi.
Yeah.
No, it should be interesting. I don't think he necessarily helps the Steelers all that much. I think there's a little bit of buzz that maybe in the first couple of weeks, and then I think Aaron Rodgers becomes Aaron Rodgers, which is 41, a 42-year-old quarterback in the NFL, which is just on the downturn. There's only one Tom Brady. There's only one Gordie Howe. There's only one guy in each sport that can play forever. Tom Brady's the guy. Aaron Rodgers is not. It just it's sad. Montana couldn't do it. Johnny Unitas couldn't do it. Joe Namath couldn't do it. The greats can't do it.
That's a great comparison to Gordie Howe. I never thought of it that way, but that's 2 guys that played way beyond you would ever expect them to be effective.
Exactly. So, Greg, I know you're a Sox fan as well. What do you think of the green unis? You like them?
Yeah, I do like them. It kind of felt like it was like the Celtics playing baseball.
I like the detail, how it looks like the Green Monster. And,
I like it.
Yeah, the young generation likes it.
I don't know about other people, but I like them. I think they look cool. It's a little bit different. I know the yellow jerseys have their likes and dislikes to it. I like them a lot, although they wear them a little too much, I think.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like a marathon jersey, but they're just wearing it on some random Wednesday night.
Whenever they wear the yellow jerseys, I keep waiting for them to break out and start dancing and doing backflips.
Oh, like the bananas? Like the bananas?
They do.
Hey, Greg, I'm sorry. I do have to run you off. I got to get to one more break before we wrap up the show.
No problem.
Hey,
great time, you guys. Great show.
Hey, thanks for listening. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Author Greg from Matunic, writing a big series of books. We actually have some of them at home if you want to read. Matt. So all right. So let's take our final break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. You're in the cheap seats with Pat and Kevin today with Matt. We'll be right back on 1240 AM, 99.5 FM, and WoonSocketRadio.com on WOON.
The latest Buick and GMC models are available at Tasca Buick GMC in Woonsocket. Buick Encore, Envision, Enclave, and Invista are on the lot waiting for you to take one for a test drive. New GMC crossovers, SUVs, as well as trucks and vans are also available. Thinking of a pre-owned vehicle? Tasca Buick GMC has more than 900 in stock, many under $15,000. Visit online, TascaBuickGMC.com, or stop into 55 Fortin Drive, Woonsocket. Tasca Buick GMC, you will be satisfied. And remember, there are no tariffs on the vehicles in stock at Tasca Buick GMC.
When disaster strikes, trust the experts at Service Master by Gilmore. From water and fire restoration to mold remediation and emergency cleanup, we've been restoring peace of mind for over 40 years, now proudly serving all areas, including our newest service location in Rhode Island. No job is too big or too small. Day or night, we're here for you. Call Service Master by Gilmore at 1-800-783-0552 or visit us at the web at www.svmgilmore.com. Restoration done right every time.
If you're celebrating a major event, regardless of the reason, Michael's Meats of Cumberland can elevate your next meal from ordinary to extraordinary with meats so good your guests will ask you where you got them. Tell them Michael's Meats. Michael's Meats is in the Walgreens parking lot on Mendon Road in Cumberland, just north of the Ciabro Plaza. They're open Monday through Saturday at 9 a.m., making your next meal truly special. Here's this week's specials at Michael's Meats.
And this week's special at Michael's Meats, they got some sirloin tri-tips, certified Angus trim beef for just $12.99 a pound at Michael's Meats. Thanks to Greg for calling in as well from Matunic. Always thanks to Moose for calling in as well, talking a little bit of socks, talking a little bit of everything with Greg, our resident Jets caller. See, so we got Marty, the athletic director, is our resident Baltimore Oriole guy. Greg from Matunic is our resident New York Jet caller. So it's all right. So we got a mix. We got a good mix going on. So all right. So really quick, if in the time we have allotted, I want to just touch on this. We touched on it very briefly with Brendan. The NHL Finals, it's 2-2. 3 of the 4 games go to overtime. Game 5 tonight. If you're not watching, I'm begging you to tune in. If you like championship sports and any sport, you're just an average fan, tune in. I think it's at 8 o'clock tonight, 8:05, TNT, I think it is. Just do the search for hockey. It'll come up. It's the only hockey game on. In Edmonton, you got Leon Draisaitl, you got Connor McDavid. They're just fun to watch. They're incredible. They are. Matt just said they're awesome. Draisaitl just set a record for his 4th overtime goal this playoff. He has 2 overtime goals in this series. On the other side, you got old friend Brad Marchand, who set a record at age 37. He's the oldest player to score a goal in each of the first 3 cups of the first 3 games of the Stanley Cup. The previous record was Frank Malovich. When he was 35, he scored in the first 3 games of the 1973 Stanley Cup Finals, a member of the Canadiens. So, in the last few years, Matt, you've become a bigger and bigger hockey fan, and you're a NBA fan, and they don't go against each other, so you're allowed to like both.
Right.
You got to admit, the hockey's been incredible.
It's been awesome. It's been sweet.
Yes.
The adrenaline, I'm sure, is unbelievable. Everyone's in it. It's electric. It's sick.
Yeah, no, it's great. The NBA series also good. Indiana plays a brand of ball. There's no real breakout stars. Yes, you do have SGA. I forget how you say his name.
Gilgeous Alexander.
There it is. Thank you. That's why Matt's on the show this week. It's 2-2. Good series. Good high energy. Good brand of ball there. I need to touch on this in the time we have. The Bruins made a trade last night. They obtained defenseman Victor Soderstrom from the Chicago Blackhawks for Providence Bruin defenseman Ryan Mast and this year's 7th round draft pick. The guy that we lost, that the Bruins lost, was a 6th round pick in 2021. Played the last 2 years in Providence. Played 37 games last year with Providence. No goals, 5 assists. Never heard the name before. I'm sure he's a great player in his own right, but, whatever. Well, they get back as the number 11 pick overall from the 2019 draft. Played 53 games with the Arizona Coyotes over the course of 4 seasons. Did play in Sweden last year. Chicago picked up his rights at the trade deadline. He never got to play for them. In Sweden last year, he won the equivalent of the Norris Trophy, which goes to the best defenseman in the league. He had 5 goals, 28 assists. So in his NHL career, he's just 24 years old. He has 1 goal, 10 assists. He is a -7. And he did average a little over 16 minutes of ice time. Thinking a third-line pairing, assuming all healthy, joining Hampus Lindholm, Charlie McAvoy, Nikita Zadorov, Mason Lohrei. Maybe hope he's not on Mason Lohrei's line because with that defense pairing, Lohrei was a -43 last year. We mentioned that last week as well. I didn't know numbers went that low. And Andrew Peak had a decent year as well last year. Matt and I were talking a little bit before the show. I like the trade because it's going with a philosophy of Marco Sturm's coming in and preaching defense first. They're getting away from just letting the guys go out on the offensive mind. They're going defense first, so you can get Pasternak to play defense. But Swayman had a great IIHF tournament, helping USA win gold. Went 7-0, and then if you got these guys back now, you could possibly have 3 decent defensive pairings in front of them, and then now you got to break out and hopefully in the draft, which is what O'Connell's not known for his draft. He's known for making good trades, but I know you never heard of the guy. I never heard of him either, but he's young, seems decent. I do like the trade overall.
Work from the ground up.
Working from the ground up or from the back out, if you will. Sure. So, all right, a couple things we did not get to. Jaylen Brown had surgery this week. By all accounts, successful surgery and should be back in time for training camp. For those that don't know or don't remember, Tatum's pretty much out for the year next year, so they truly need Jaylen Brown back and healthy.
You need him back.
Yeah, big time. Tom Brady, there's going to be a statue at the August 8th preseason game against Washington. Why the preseason game? Because even though all the tickets are sold, only about 35,000 people show up. Tom Brady's in the house. Guess what? The additional 30,000 people show up. They drink beer and eat food, and Bob Kraft makes more money. And if you're just tuning in or just waking up, Antonio Brown apparently attempted murder about 2 weeks ago at a amateur boxing night. Took the gun, allegedly, from a security guard and shot at a guy, apparently a friend of his. Probably not friends any longer. I would not think that they're friends now. They've known each other since 2022. Antonio Brown just cannot get out of his own way. So, all right. So that's all the notes. We'll touch on more of that, I'm sure, next week. And where we expect to have Pat back to truly make it to Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin. So, Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Did you have fun?
No, it was so much fun. It was a blast.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Great
All right.
time.
So now you're on standby. We'll get brother Tim to be on. Your brother Tim to be on standby as well. And maybe
Doubt
we'll have
he'd do it. He's a bum.
So maybe we'll have the whole Callahan connection. We'll get Uncle Joe in here as well. And don't forget the Tiki Bar. It's coming up at noon with Joe Callahan as well. So thank you once again. Thank you to Brendan McGear, the Blackstone Valley Call and Times. Thanks to Moose. Thanks to Greg. Thanks to Matt. And Pat, looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much for joining us in the Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin here on 1240 AM, 99.5 FM, OneSocketRadio.com.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union.